walk into the jungle, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place. The jungle is, when I first came to the jungle in 2004, uh, I walked out into the jungle, and you could feel the Earth's heartbeat. You could definitely, definitely, definitely feel the Earth's heartbeat. You could feel that the Earth, the lungs of the, well, I don't want to say the lungs of the Earth, but you could feel the pulse. You could feel the Earth's pulse there, and it's so beautiful, and it's so, so green. One of our guests called it the Emerald City. Everything is green, and if you walk around the jungle, there's so many plants, there's so many bushes, there's so many vines. You can, it's so hard to fathom how some guy 400 years ago was walking around and decided to take one vine and one leaf and mix it together, or cook it together for 10 hours to come up with this brew called Ayahuasca. And this medicine, and here it's considered medicine, all the locals call it medicine. And some locals, they do it every month. Some locals, they don't want to have anything to do with it, but it's widely accepted. In fact, in Peru, it's completely legal, and they consider it part of their tradition. So they'll never, it'll never become illegal here in Peru. It's part of their traditions, and the government's for it, so on and so forth. In fact, sometimes the hospitals, when they don't know what to do with Western medicine, they will go to shamans, and they will actually prescribe medicinal plants to the patients when they can't fix it with Western medicine. So that's very common. So yeah, I just lost my train of thought there. I'm in a hotel and some stuff's going on. So it's an incredible medicine. It's not for everybody. It's definitely not for my mother. Maybe my sisters, but it's what we call accelerated healing. What you do, or what you can do with a therapist within 15 to 20 years, you can do with the mother vine in 5 years. It's tapping into the DNA of the universe. It's opening your crown chakra and receiving so, so much information. In fact, I was talking with a gentleman today, and I was telling him my personal story, and I was telling him that I had an incredible, difficult childhood. My mother was physically abusive with me due to her religious beliefs at the time, and so I was about, no, I would say my late 20s. I never fully forgave my mother, and I would always carry that anger and that resentment. And what the mother vine did in one ceremony, which lasted about 4 hours, the vine transformed me into my mother when my mother was 3 years old. So she put me into my mother's body, and I lived every experience my mother lived from when she was 3 till she was about till I was born, and I was about 2 or 3 years old. And I experienced everything, and it was just, you ever see those movies where somebody just sits in front of a TV and just takes in all the information? That's what happened in this ceremony, and I understood everything. And for me, it was 3 important steps that I never knew how to work out. It was like a puzzle that I could never put these parts in place. I wasn't able to forgive because I wasn't able to understand, and I wasn't able to accept because I wasn't able to understand. So once I experienced my mother's, childhood and teenage years and adulthood, then once I understood that, then I was able to accept, and then once I accepted, I was able to um, completely and totally forgive her, and now we're incredible friends, and she's come down here, and she thinks what I'm doing is amazing and beautiful, and she definitely is all for it. And yeah, it completely changed my life. uh, it's like being reborn. It's definitely keep getting rid of any weight you've ever carried on your shoulders. It's like, yeah, it's like taking your first breath again, you know? It's like, yeah, it's you feel life and you feel so much better. And the other thing that the Mother Vine taught me was unconditional love. Unconditional love for myself. And as I'm saying that, I'm looking at the mantle and it says love right on it. And ladies and gentlemen, folks, love is the answer. Love is the answer. That is the universe's most powerful force. Love can heal anything, can cure anything. And once we tap into our higher self and once we find that source. Hey, guys, before I forget, I just wanted to say something, and I actually wanted to say at the beginning of my presentation, um, everybody just um, absolutely just give Elizabeth a huge hug because she's a cosmic she's a cosmic servant. I mean, she's such a beautiful person and she's doing this all through the goodness of her heart, and she's doing it just to pay it forward kind of a thing, you know? And so yeah, she's a beautiful person and she definitely deserves a lot of love from each and every one of us, for sure. So yeah, as I was saying, so yeah, unconditional love, and that's where it all starts, guys. That's where it all starts. And basically, what I'm trying to do with this healing center is that I'm just trying to pay back. And you know, there's a couple of us involved. We even have one of my partners. He's from Austin, Texas. His name is Cameron. He lives near Barton Springs, and he's deaf. So we're also helping the deaf community because the deaf community is kind of always pushed off to the side. Sure, you know, they get government help here and there, but the Vine really helps them. Um, Elizabeth, is it okay? I wanted to read something, but I might have to like just push this. I might lose. Can you hear me? I
Yeah, I
might
can.
lose the video.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
can.
if I lost the video.
That's okay.
Okay, so I just wanted to read you a couple things, guys, just here really quick. Another 10 minutes, and then we can do some Q&A. So this stuff, because, you know, most of the time, I just got finished doing 2 documentaries. I just got finished doing a documentary with a team out of Geneva, out of Switzerland, and they're doing a big documentary on the healing power of Ayahuasca and the Icaros. The Icaros are the songs the shamans sing. And that was done about 4 or 5 months ago, and that already went into production. And right now, as we speak, we're doing another documentary, a Brazilian model. She was a Ford's model, and she was modeling in Paris and in Italy. She came down and she's doing she's also she went to school in California, film school, to do documentaries, and we're doing a documentary called The Healing Odyssey. At first, it was supposed to be just about the healing center, and I didn't really just want it about the healing center. I'm like, you know, that's kind of egotistical. I wanted about healing. So we decided to do it all on medicinal plants and you know, and the process and how medicinal plants, ethnogens, can help you heal. Um, so and so I'm always telling my story, how I came into this, how did the healing center happen, how did I come into Aikido, so on and so forth. But I want you guys to hear some other stories, and these are the stories of this next one I'm going to read to you was written on July 10th, and these are stories from guests that have given me their permission to share these stories, and they've even posted them on Facebook and online, and some of them have even gone into e-magazines. And one of them is from a mother that her son came and visited us. So let me go through these, and then you guys can ask me all the questions that you want. Okay, this first one is, let's see what the title is, My Journey to Myself After My Rebirth. This young woman actually came from Dubai, and it's really interesting woman. She was born in Turkey, grew up in Germany, and is now living in Dubai. 10 days of ayahuasca and 8 days of Chirik Senango master plant isolation diet. That's another thing that we do, guys. We work with master plants. So it's not all about ayahuasca, and it's not all about visions, and it's not all about hallucinations. It's also about master plants. And some of these master plants, you don't get any visions, but you get knocked off your butt, and you get rebooted and cleaned out. So the last couple of years, I was not feeling myself anymore and falling into depression, and it was getting worse and worse. All the areas of my life were falling apart, except my friendship. My darkest, most challenging times were from December till I went to the jungle for healing. My close friends who were by my side at those times know exactly what I'm talking about. After meeting Henny and talking to Omar and Tiffany from the center, my intuition immediately decided to go and connect and heal with the plant medicines. 10 days of ayahuasca and an 8-day of Senango diet at the beautiful, magical place, Chakra, Alegria de Amour Rainforest Healing Center. I am coming, even though I knew that it would be even though I knew it would be hard and scary and would push me to my limits. I knew it with every cell of my body and soul that this is the next step for me. I was determined for this trip. This is what I was going to do for myself. I always had the feeling of the healing power of nature and plants deep inside, although the complete trust was not there, yet. Since many years, I was on the path of healing myself from all negativity I burdened from my past, reading books, seeing healers, attending self-empowerment courses such as Tetra Healing, NLP, and many more. I am very grateful for them and for the souls involved with them. They had their place during my journey and helped me to go to levels deeper and deeper. Unfortunately, the source was never reached, while my overall situation in the last years got worse and worse. So I am so endlessly grateful that the Mother Vine, La Medicina, called me. I was so determined and went there with an open heart and with all my baggage from the past, all the negativity, all the fears, guilt, hate, anger, depression, frustration, pain, suffering, powerlessness, etc. My intention was to heal on all levels, physically, mentally, spiritually, and all the areas of my life. I was sick and tired of not being able to live my true potential. The inner voice was shouting out for complete healing. I asked the Mother Vine to go to the source and pull out all the roots. It was the hardest, scariest, most exhausting, and demanding work I have ever done on myself, facing all what was down deep within me, and at the same time the most precious divine experience of unconditional love, bliss, peace, and freedom, not only during the ceremonies, as well during the entire time there, learning and expanding what's going on. How did I get through the scariest, challenging moments? Knowing that it will pass, knowing it was for my healing. Sacred Healing Center and the team and my new soul friends. Caring, love, and support and presence of Omar, caring, love, support, and encouraging words of Tiffany. And Pedro, the shaman, the Peruvian native, with his unconditional love, dedication, support, and strength, having accompanied me in the 3 weeks and was the only contact I had during my isolation diet. Having Pedro, beautiful soul, around while moving forward and transforming gave me trust and peace, not to mention how much I learned from him. In the 3 weeks, I found myself and have gained immense understanding about myself, life, the universe. Such a huge learning experience. These plant spirit medicines, La Medicina, Mama Ayahuasca, and Chirik Senango, have transformed me beyond my wildest expectations. Words are not able to express the strong healing which happened holistically on all levels, deep down to a cellular level. I felt and experienced and understood my pain and suffering and could not release it and have left it all behind. For the first time in my life, I am falling in love with myself, my life, and have knowingness that I am transformed, healed. I forgave everyone. I have let go of all negativity, suffering, and limitations. We do not need to suffer to deserve love. She made me get this into my entire being and accept it. Love is our birthright. At the end of the seventh, most profound and last ceremony, the mother vine told me, "You are done. Now the fun part of your life starts." I have never felt so much gratitude in my life. I was bathing in gratitude and divine love. I love you forever, Mama Ayahuasca and Judik Sanango. With my heart full of love and gratitude, with knowing that the plant spirits continue to teach me and heal me throughout my life, and with a mission to spread the healing power of the mother vine and the plant spirits to the world, feeling new and reborn. I came back to my sweet home Dubai, where nothing will ever be the same. I will share all details what I've experienced. Okay, so then she's got a video. All right, can you guys still hear me? Are we still here?
Yes, sorry, I muted so that.
Okay, all right. How are we doing on time? Do you want to do another one, or do you want to do Q's and A's?
Let's see. We have got about 30. We've got about 35 minutes left. So,
Okay.
um, yeah.
Let me do another, just one quick one. It's really short. It's going to take 2 minutes, and then we can do Q and A's because I'm sure everybody's got a lot of questions. Okay, so this next one is from a mother. Okay, this is from Anne M. I have not visited Chakra, Alegria, Amour, but last autumn my son went for his first visit. As a mother, I was worried, not being sure what he was about to find, but I found the website reassuring. My son had been grieving over the fact that his wife had lied and cheated and eventually left him when he discovered the lies. Naturally, he was angry and hurting. He has always been spiritually aware and had for a long while been studying A Course in Miracles, a wonderful book which everyone deserves to read. He knew he would need to find a way to let go and forgive so that his own healing could progress. But grief was hindering the discovery of his path. When he went to the jungle, experienced the healing medicine of Ayahuasca, the nurturing love of Omar, Pedro, and all the wonderful people who helped, he returned to me a different person. He didn't stop smiling for days, and although he still realizes there is still work to be done, he is a new person. Just to spend time in his company is energizing. So I am very grateful, and many thanks to Omar, Pedro, and all their helpers, and particularly to the spirit of Ayahuasca. Right. So that was a mother from, and the gentleman is from England. And as it turns out, he's actually here with us right now. He decided to come back and volunteer. Right now the healing center was kind of rented out by a shaman from England, and she brought down 8 people with her, and so Dave came down as a volunteer to help facilitate it. So it's a medicine. It's a medicine, and what it does, guys, it goes down, it finds the source, and it pulls the root. Yeah, it pulls the root and it brings it out, and you purge. And you purge either by vomiting, going to the bathroom, crying, yawning, laughing, but you get rid of it. You get rid of it. It physically comes out of you. And the nights that you do ceremonies, you don't eat anything after 12 o'clock. So you have lunch, and then from lunch all the way till about 7:30 at night, nothing goes inside, nothing but water goes inside your body. At 4 o'clock, you stop drinking water. Some, yeah, from 4 to 7:30, you don't have anything, and you drink about it's no more than 12 ounces, like it's less than a shot glass of the medicine. And some people spend an hour vomiting, and you're like, what could they possibly be vomiting? And it's just all this. It's not like they're, they're getting mouthfuls out. It's just sometimes it's just like even dry heaves, and it's just emotional, spiritual, mental, and physical toxins that are just coming out, out, out. So that's it in a nutshell. We do not accept people that are psychedelic tourists. We do a very, very, very rigorous screening process. So if anybody, thinks that like, you're going to go come down, and I'm not saying that anybody is, but for those people that think that they're going to, those people out there in the world that think that they're going to come down and see, purple elephants in a tutu, well, then you got the wrong medicine, because this is hard, hard, fun stuff. Sometimes the visions can be very, very scary. And sometimes you don't get any visions, and you just get realizations, and you start connecting the dots, and, you start organizing your mind, and you start, like sometimes, like, I don't know, last month, I'm like, oh my God, I never told that ex-girlfriend I was sorry, and I was so, mean to her, and I feel so guilty for it. And that's why it's hard for me to, receive affection or something like that. That's just an example. So it kind of like plots everything out so that you can see it from a bird's eye point of view. But yeah, it's not psychedelic tourist. This is not fun. This is not trippy. This isn't a good time. This is real work, boys and girls. This is real, real work. And you go down deep and you get it done. Like they say in Texas, get her done. All
So,
right. Any
Omar,
questions?
yeah, can I ask a question? So on your 7-day retreats, there's 3 ceremonies done in those 7 days. And then the 10-day retreats, there's 5 ceremonies done in those 10 days. Is that right?
That's correct.
Right. So when somebody does that many ceremonies back to back, because people that have done ceremony here that maybe do it once every once in a while, I mean, they're not getting lasting change. And I'm wondering, these people that are writing back and saying they're having this lasting change, is it because that they're doing it so many times in a short period of time? What do you think the difference is?
So there's 2 things, right? That's a great question. There's 2 things, right? And when you go and drink in the States, number one, actually there's more than 2 things. There's a couple of them. Well, there's like 3 or 4 things. Number one, when you drink in the States, you're drinking with a traveling shaman, right? Which means, he's just up and traveling, number one. Number two, if you are blessed and you're lucky, you're going to drink with a Peruvian authentic shaman. If not, it's just somebody that thinks that they know what they're doing, and they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. But in order to be a true shaman, you have to apprentice for like 3 to 5 years in the Amazon jungle. You can't go down here for a week or come down here for a month or 3 months and then go back and say, hey, I'm a shaman. No way. I mean, I've lived here like literally full time for 3 years, and I don't consider myself, I can't even shaman anything. I can barely shaman my breakfast, It's like I'm nowhere near that, I'm a facilitator, but I can't guide people. No way. I would have to do so many plant diets. Okay. Number two, they're getting the medicine shipped to the United States. Yeah. It's you're never going to get the same protein if you eat fresh food and if you eat moldy food, right? Or cooked or processed food. So when they cut it down here, they make it, it just sits. And what they do is that they make it very, very, very concentrated so that if it gets caught, it's only 1 bottle. So then they have to reduce it. They put a lot of water to make it spread. So it's not really concentrated. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's like going to, how can I was going to, use alcohol, but I'm gonna refer from using alcohol as okay, as a way to explain it. It's like watered down tomato salsa or something like that. You know, it's not the same as some good Italian homemade pasta dress sauce. Guys, it's also right around now. I'm usually in the jungle, so it's usually my bedtime, so my mind starts like turning off. So just bear with me if the thoughts come a little bit slower. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock at night, 7:30. We're in bed in the jungle. So the other thing is about a month ago, no, 2 months ago, a friend from Canada called me, Dave, and Dave was coming down to do a retreat, and he said, "Hey, Omar, I went out and I did some ceremonies with a really good shaman here. I did 2 ceremonies in Canada." And I said, "Awesome, Dave. How were they?" He said, "They were bliss." And I said, "How would you compare them to those ceremonies that you did in the jungle?" He goes, "The only way I can compare it is that when you do the ceremonies outside the Amazon, you have the doctor on the phone. You call and you have a doctor on the phone. And when you do them in the Amazon, the doctor is right in front of you and you're seeing and touching the doctor. So that's, that's the main difference. Plus, it's also about unplugging. You come out here for 7 days, you don't get a single email, you don't get a single phone call, you don't get any distractions. You're in this beautiful hut in the middle of the jungle surrounded by 110 medicinal plants that are on the property. You are completely and totally unplugged. And what happens when you don't have any distractions? When we don't have any distractions, we have a mirror, and that mirror is us. And so we start dealing with our own thoughts. We start dealing with our own fears. We don't have YouTube. We don't have an iPhone. We don't have, a shopping mall. We don't have anything. You have to deal with your own stuff. So people's childhood memories start coming up. I mean, I'll be walking around the property and I'll be walking by a guest that's absolutely crying, and just purging. And it's just part of the process, that they're healing, and that's the healing process, that they have to go through. Sometimes you have to go through a hard time to come out to the bliss light. So I would say that's a difference.
Okay. And are you familiar with people that are using the plant or the seed of the Syrian rue and calling it like ayahuasca or something like it? Are you familiar with that?
I've heard about it. I've never done it. I don't know anybody that's ever done it, but I'm very, very familiar with it. So,
Well,
no, I mean,
my question about that is I'm wondering, how is that different? Do you know? If they're making the
I
medicine.
don't know how it's different, but I know that Ayahuasca is Ayahuasca, and this is also about a commitment, guys. This is a commitment. You can't be like, oh, I want it on my terms. I want to, I want to do the healing on my terms, how I want to do it, and how I think I should do it. No, no, no. It doesn't work like that, guys. You have to bow your head, be humble, and say, I am in need. Please help me. I will do what it takes. You can't be sitting in your living room with air conditioning doing a ceremony. It doesn't work like that. That's your ego saying, I want it this way. You have to walk out to the jungle and get, you might get muddy, you might get bit by a couple of mosquitoes, but you have to, bow your head and be humble.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to open it up for Q&A, and if you have a question, come up to the computer. Anybody? Okay.
Hello, Omar.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going in the right direction. Glad to be here. Glad you're joining us and we're joining you.
Perfect.
I have a roommate that is on a trip to Peru at the current moment. He's also from, well, he's living here in Texas, attending Texas Tech University, but he's from Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know if he's in Juarez or somewhere a little bit closer to Lima, Peru.
Okay.
So it's really it's amazing that this is kind of coming to me this way. I met this gentleman on a spiritual journey that I'm on myself, so it's kind of like an amazing synchronicity for all of this to be coming together the way it is. So it's a blessing. But I had a question about the ayahuasca and what it contains as far as the dimethyltryptamine. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. That dimethyltryptamine is also in pretty much every ecosystem in around the globe, correct?
Including a brain.
Our brains, other plants as well. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Would you have any feedback or any, say for example, if an individual wasn't able to attain the ayahuasca brew, would there be any particular practices that you would suggest that an individual could come somewhat close to extracting or having an accessibility to the dimethyltryptamine in their body?
Not that I know. I know that people smoke DMT all the time, and I know that no, I mean no. Here, so I'll explain it to you, right? Does everybody know how the vine works? Does everybody know how the brew works?
Just tell, no, go ahead and tell us.
Okay, so we have two main ingredients, right? So you have the vine, which is actually called Ayahuasca, and you have 4 or 5 different kinds of vine. You have cielo, you have red, you have black, and then you have red. You know, red, black, and I'm sorry, there's only 3: red, black, and cielo. And what it does is that, and then the other ingredient is the DMT in a leaf called chacruna or wambisa.
Mm-hmm.
And it's naturally in these leaves. And what happens is that the vine, so I'm not very good explaining this, even though I should be, with all the scientific terms. But when we consume the DMT, our body, the acids inside of our stomach will just break it down, and we won't, what's the word I'm looking for? We won't absorb it.
The enzymes won't allow us to have the effects from it.
Perfect. So therefore, what the vine does is that it stops the enzymes in our stomach. Well, it stops like the acid or the enzymes in our stomach, and then we're allowed to absorb the DMT.
Right. It's an inhibitor, correct?
Correct. It's an inhibitor.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, to answer your question, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
My name is Trey. Just call me Trey for short.
Trey. No, I mean, I know about other stuff like iboga, obviously, mushrooms, but like DMT like that, no. The only thing I've heard of is smoking DMT. And there was a time when I had a really serious head injury, and I wasn't getting any more visions from the medicine. And I talked to a doctor, an ND, a naturopathic doctor, and they told me that my pineal gland was off whack. And they said the way that they fix it was sticking up like a balloon up your nose, and they blow up the balloon and it puts it back into place. And I said, whoa, I'm not even sure if it's, out of place. And they said, well, you can smoke DMT and see if, if anything happens. And Trey, that was the scariest experience of my life. I would never, ever, ever do that again. Oh my God. That was a way too much.
DMT as opposed to getting the same connection and getting kind of some of the same things brought to the surface as an individual would getting the ayahuasca, drinking the brew. Is that correct?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Now,
Mother Vine is very nurturing. It's a female spirit. It's a female plant. She's there to heal you. The best way I can describe the difference is that the Mother Vine will rock you, cradle you. Sometimes she'll shake you like a mother, saying, get your act together.
Whatever's
necessary. But when you smoke DMT, you're in a slingshot. It's a catapult, and hold on for dear life. Put a helmet on, cross your heart, and hope to return.
Right. So other than that, you really, when your brain extracts the dimethyltryptamine when you're dreaming, is that correct?
That's what I understand. Yeah, that's what I was told.
Okay. So really, in other words, there's really no accessible way or any type of practice that you're aware of to where you can get the effects of the dimethyltryptamine through meditation or through just really paying closer attention to your guides or your spirits, so to
Not that
speak.
I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. I'm sure there probably are, through meditation and so on and so forth, but not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Trey, were you in the military?
No, no, never in the
Okay.
military.
Okay, you look very much like someone that I met before that was in the military and asked me some questions
Oh, really? You
around
know,
that.
I get
Yeah.
that a lot. The God in me, you recognize. You
There
recognize
you
the
go.
God in me. Thank you,
Perfect.
Omar.
Perfect.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Omar. So on the DMT, um, smoking the DMT, that's not a healing agent.
No, it's
That's
not a
not
healing
something that
agent.
actually creates healing, psychospiritual or physical healing, like the ayahuasca. So,
Absolutely not. No, no.
so what I'd like to hear about is what are some of, and I know that you're in the process of making another documentary, right? This is like this
Yes.
is the second one.
Right.
So, tell me about the clients that have come. What types of illnesses have they come with? Physical, emotional, mental. If you can just give, let us
Okay.
know a list of things that people have come that you've had verified healing for.
Okay. All right. This is a really interesting one. Couple. She was 58. He was 62. They had been boyfriend and girlfriend, and they both decided to go to Tibet. They entered monasteries and they became monks, obviously separated. She went her path, he went his path, and they became Tibetan monks for 19 years. When they just happened to finish at the same time, they met, got married, are living in the redwoods of California. And in fact, Elizabeth, you guys are gonna be in touch very soon because she's a therapist. She had polio, and as a child, and he had Lyme disease. They had been sitting with some friends, and they have a monthly get together, and they drink the vine with a shaman that came down to Pucallpa, Peru, and trained, and it seems to be very good. And they came down here and did a medicinal plant diet, Uchu Sinango. Uchu Sinango goes down to a muscular skeletal level. It works on your nervous system, your CNS system, and your synapse. And they both walked out glowing, glowing, glowing. He feels a lot better. He's an artist, and he's been painting like amazing stuff. She's a therapist, and she said, her shoulder feels better. She was able to walk out like no, it took her about an hour and 45 minutes to walk in. When she walked out, it took her half an hour. So physically, she really benefited from it. Another really interesting one was a 24-year-old girl that came down 3 months ago, heroin addict, which was shocking to me. I never knew that heroin addicts could be so young. So from San Francisco, under bridges, shooting up. She was in a relationship with her boyfriend that was also shooting up. She decided to get clean, and got a job, left the junkie boyfriend. I don't want to call him. Left the ex-boyfriend, decided to get clean, started a new relationship. The ex-boyfriend couldn't take it, doused himself with gasoline and lit himself on fire. So 26-year-old, and then by then she was like 20. No, she's still, yeah, she's 24. So she lived with all that. She came down. She was pretty much backpacking, and she came across us and said that she needed help. She didn't even have that much money. We kind of just, it was like uh, pro bono. We kind of like did a little pro bono, and she did a 7-day retreat with us. Did 3 ceremonies. Her first ceremony was the scariest thing that she ever experienced. Second ceremony, unconditional love, beautiful bliss. Third ceremony, she witnessed the whole thing. She witnessed how her boyfriend poured gasoline on himself and lit himself on fire. And while all that was going on, her ex-boyfriend sorry, her ex-boyfriend, while that all that was going on, her ex-boyfriend said, I love you, I forgive you, please, please, please do not feel guilty. This had nothing to do with you. Live your life beautifully, live your life blissfully. Do never ever feel guilty. She walked out, she was kissing and hugging every person. I mean, because she walked out early, she jumped on a bus and she kissed a bus driver. She was so relieved that she finally got over that horrible guilt. Um, Girl that was raped, had an abortion, walked out amazingly. Very, very beautiful. Physical ailments, 65-year-old woman with arthritis from Switzerland came down, completely healed. We get a lot of, I don't know why, but we get a lot of uh, flight attendants from Emirates Airlines in Dubai. We get a lot of flight attendants, and they all go back and they quit. So I'm sure there's a poster of me somewhere, like in an office over there in Dubai, saying, "If you see this guy, get him." Yeah, because they all quit and they all go, they all go back home. Another ex-heroin addict, came down, spent 2 months with us, now is a 2-star Michelin chef in Zurich, Switzerland, and his partnership in this restaurant, girlfriend, loving life. What other really good ones? The one that I just read to you, he was married, the mother that I read, the mother's testimony that I just read to you. He was married for 5 years with his wife, and for the last year and a half, his wife was cheating on him with his best friend. When he went back, he took them both out for dinner and said, "You guys are forgiven. Live your life, enjoy it. I'm moving on. There's no more to say." Gave him hugs and kisses and walked away. All good. And he still talks to his best friend from time to time, or his ex-best friend. So, what other beautiful stories are there? And just this Brazilian model that was with us. Oh my God, she was just scared of everything. She was scared of the mosquitoes, and there aren't even that many mosquitoes. Literally, where we are, I can sit outside without a shirt. I mean, it's better than it's better than in parts of Texas. Definitely better than in Bandera or any of those places. Um, yeah, much less mosquitoes, because what we do, guys, and something that Elizabeth really shocked me with today, was we clean energy. You have to clean the energy of your house. You have to smudge, smudge, smudge. That is so important, and that's what so many other healing centers around here don't do. Every 2 days, we walk around with a can of what's called Palo Santo, which is a holy wood, and it smells very, very aromatically. And this is what the shamans have been using for years to smudge. And we sage the whole property. Before you walk on the property, I'm sorry, not sage, we smudge you. Before you walk on the property, we smudge you. There's a bridge that you have to cross over. It's like a big duck pond to, get rid of any negative baggage that you're carrying. We keep that property vibrating at its highest potential possible, and that's really, really important. So what else? I don't know. There's plenty of stories. I just can't think of them right now.
Right. So what is the name of the first documentary, and is it out? How do we find it?
It's not out. It's going to be a year and a half, because it's going to go into full production. So it's going to go, I believe it's called The Power of Icaros. And the next documentary, the one that we're working on right now, is going to be called The Healing Odyssey.
All right.
Yeah, and that's all about healing, about everything. It's not only just about the medicine. It's about, all different kinds of ways to heal.
Elizabeth asking how much it costs.
Oh, there was a question about the cost, and I will say his costs are lower than any center I've ever seen. So I can't remember the 7-day. What is the 7-day for a double occupancy, Omar?
I think it's $1,000.
Yeah.
And then for double occupancy for 10 days, I believe, you know what, guys, to tell you the truth, I'm embarrassed to say, I don't know the prices. I honestly do not know the prices. I'll tell you why, because we're doing this from our heart, but the bills, I'm saying exactly the same thing as Elizabeth. When you're doing this, you do it from your heart. And it's so hard to put a price on things, but bills have to get paid. So the administrator knows all the prices. I'm just the guy in the jungle, so I don't really.
That's okay. I don't know my own package prices myself. I have to look at my own website as well. Where is it at? It's outside of Iquitos in Peru. It's outside of Iquitos.
Is there a website?
Yes, there is a website, and if you go on the Hope Facebook page, which you're on, right, there's a link to it there. But and it's what is it? Rainforest Healing Center, or what is it?
Rainforesthealingcenter.com.
.com. Yeah. And at the center where I was going to go before, they jacked their prices up $1,000 per person within a week. And it was the lowest price was $1,400. Now the lowest price is $2,400. And then there's a $3,400 price. So his prices are literally half to a third of what other centers charge, and he only takes 8 people at a time. There are other centers there that turn out 60 to 120 people a month. As again, there's a lot of psychedelic tourism that goes on, and they say they're healing centers, and I'm sure that there is quite a bit of healing that can occur. However, when you are opening, and we have to talk about vibrational integrity here as well. If you're going to have sex with someone and exchange physical energy on a sexual level, you want to make sure that person has a good level of integrity, because if they don't, then you are taking on those attachments and that negativity, and it may not affect you once or twice, but if you continue to open yourself up deeply to somebody on a sexual level that has some issues, you're going to take some of that on yourself if you're not a master, which who of us is a master, right? So when you go to do medicine work, it's like having energetic sex with somebody, and whoever has prepared the medicine or you're having ceremony with, you are literally opening up yourself on a very deeper than physical sex even, all of you is getting opened up. So when I made the choice to not go to the other center, it was an issue of integrity. I really thought perhaps I may go, just for the few months, the one time to have an experience, but I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it because there was an integrity issue. And, so you want to be really careful. And somebody who's charging, and I know $1,000 is a lot, because then, especially for everybody here in the room, or for most of the people here in the room, we're not very wealthy people. We live, modest lives. And so to save up that kind of money, you're going to want to be sure that you're going someplace with integrous people, and that it's not psychedelic tourism. You want to be with people when you're in ceremony. You want to be with people who are really there for healing. If you're going for healing, you want to go with people who are really there, really going there for healing. If you do want to go for psychedelic tourism, that's fine too, but it's really important to know that when you're in that state, if you're not with a shaman that can hold the space and pull that stuff off of you that's coming on from other people, you can pick up other people's stuff as well. So it's something to think about.
Very, very, very well said, Elizabeth. And another thing, guys, that's really, really important, and kind of just think about this, I remember when I was in the States, I used to manage a law firm. I used to manage a law firm in Chicago. I moved from Dallas. I was working in a law firm. I was working in Dallas, and then we opened up an office in Chicago. And I was living on the 76th floor of the John Hancock building, living the life, and doing well. And I remember spending $1,000 on a new couch was nothing, and I was like, it's just $1,000, come back. And it never occurred to me to invest in myself, you know? And that's the best kind of investment that you can make. When you invest in yourself, everything changes. Your whole life changes, you know? So that is, you know, it's really, really important. However you can, you know, if it's yoga classes, if it's talking to a therapist, if it's learning how to meditate, but invest in yourself. And that goes from eating well to yeah, to doing yoga, to doing anything that you can, because you're number one, you know, your mental and your physical body are number one.
So we're just about at the end here. Does anybody else have any questions? Nope. So we're done with the Q&A. What about our online people, Kim or Nicole? You guys, do you have questions? You can put them in the chat as well. If you could just put yes, or put no if you don't have a question. Nicole says no. Kim, are you there? Do you have a question? Yes, hang on, she says.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So while we're waiting, Omar, how many retreats do you have? I didn't look to see if you have, because I know you have
Usually,
a Sunday.
Usually we have 2 retreats per month, and as you mentioned, we only do a maximum of 8 people per retreat, and it's it's pretty big, it's spacious, so there's tons of room. I mean, honestly, we could hold 30 people there, but we absolutely don't want that. It's boutique, it's personalized, it's it's done the way it should be. And while I'm on the subject, if any of you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to email me or Elizabeth. And if you're like, hey, my friend's going to go to this retreat center, I want to go there too, I will tell you, hey, I've heard wonderful things about, or I haven't heard such good things. And if you want to drink with somebody in the States, Cameron, my partner in this, he has a center in Austin where Peruvian shamans will go through from time to time. And they have a country ranch. And yeah, so if you guys are interested in that, I could definitely put you in touch with Cameron.
Yeah, if you'll send me that information, I'll post it on our Facebook page for everybody.
Absolutely.
All right, Kim, do you have your question ready? Yes. So can you see that, Omar?
Nope.
Okay. So what is the best advice you could give a person whom is reliant on a psychedelic for a spiritual experience?
Reliant? Is
Right.
that like you're depending on a psychedelic for a spiritual experience? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, where they have no other spiritual practice other than taking the psychedelic to get that expanded state of consciousness and connection with the divine. She said a lot of younger folks in this community rely on it.
How are you doing it? Are you doing it in a ceremonial setting, or are you just doing it and listening to music? I mean, how are you going about doing this? Because if you're doing it ceremoniously, and another thing, who's guiding you? Because, it can be very confusing about what's spiritual and what isn't spiritual, right? So are you connecting to your higher self, or are you just having visions and tripping?
Yeah, she said no, they're taking it and going to a club, etc.
Then that's not spiritual. In my opinion, that is not spiritual. I just went in Chicago, I was visiting somebody, and I went to this club, and Bukongal or some kind of crazy DJ with this visionary art was going on, and I was shocked with what I saw. All these people um, it's not even ecstasy. It's called MDMA or something,
Yeah,
MDMA or something,
yeah.
or Molly's or something. And I went up to this kid. I'm like, "What are you on?" Right? First of all, number one, I'm 42 years old, and I felt like a grandfather there. I'm like, "Gee, I don't, I'm like, I don't even belong here." I'm like, "What's going on?" And, and I was with Tiffany, who's my ex-girlfriend, but she also helps out in this healing center. And she's like, we're like old people in here. I'm like, we are old people in here. And I go up to this guy and I'm like, "Hey, what are you on?" And he's like, like 0.2 grams. I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "No, like, what kind of, like, are you on ecstasy? Are you on acid? Are you on mushrooms?" I mean, those are the drugs that I know. That was my generation. He's like, "No, I'm on Molly." I'm like, "Well, who's Molly? Where's she? So, yeah, I would say no, that's not spiritual. You're not connecting with your higher self. I mean, spirituality is all about connecting with the divine, connecting with nature, connecting with your true self, your higher self, connecting with the greater being. It's not about going out to a club and dancing. It's beautiful that, the mind is expanding and opening, but do it in a way that's ceremonious or almost like slash religious. Go out there and get in touch with nature, because we're all connected. We're all connected. And when you get in touch with your higher self and you get in touch with nature, you start unfolding and you start peeling away those onion layers, and you start looking at yourself. Because if I'm in a club, I can't really figure out my childhood when I'm tripping in at a club. I can't really sit down and go, "Oh wow, that's I should forgive my mother for that." No, I'm like into the music, dancing, and worrying that nobody's going to step on my feet. It's like, yeah.
So Omar, she's asking, so how would I communicate this to these folks that I love so much without being an over egotistical, quote unquote, enlightened being?
um, Love and ego they don't belong in the same sentence. So if you're doing something out of love, you're not doing it with ego. If you're doing it something that you completely comes from the heart because you care from these people, you're not being egotistical, you're being loving, and you want to save them and save their brain cells. You want to show them that it's not so good to drop a hit of acid every weekend. That's not really gonna take you anywhere. Sure, it's gonna show you some amazing visions and everything, but you're not gonna work with yourself. And this is what we need to heal. We need to heal us. We need to heal our spiritual being, our emotional being. The testament that I read to you, the first one, that girl had breast cancer. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. Throughout her retreat and everything, she realized that her breast cancer was from guilt, because she had so much guilt, for the way that that she was towards her sister growing up. She used to hit her sister and be really mean to her sister, and get her sister in trouble, so on and so forth. So, point being is that if you're awakening, if you're widening in your consciousness, that's one thing, but do it spiritually and do it to heal. I guess that's what I would say. And just talk to them. Look up resetme.com. I would say that resetme.com is a great webpage. Joe, there's a wrestler. Could somebody help me out with that? There was a kickbox fighter, wrestler or something. Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has some good podcasts that talks about this stuff. So maybe search about, maybe they will give you some answers. But do it with love, and just, yeah. But yeah, and it's kind of a phase of being a child, I guess. I don't know.
Well, Omar, thank you so much for coming out of the jungle, especially to do this and dealing with the concrete jungle and all of that. I really, really appreciate you. I'm so grateful to get to be working with you all. and really look forward to more. And thank you for your work and your dedication and your commitment to the jungle. In the email that I sent out, I told people about, the replanting project, which I have a great respect for you for. And just to mention that again here on this broadcast, that when somebody comes to your center to do retreat, on the in-between days, between ceremonies, they go back into the jungle to replant the vine so that they can give back what they're receiving, and that your commitment is to replant 3 times what you use, because it is, becoming endangered out of its misuse, actually. So thank you so much for your dedication. I really respect you and wish you well and all the success in the world.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. And you all are beautiful people, and we can make this world a better place together. We really can. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Thank
you.
Bye, Omar.
Bye. I miss Texas, so enjoy it for me.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye.